And what I want to do is just set this aside because we are going to assemble our bag. This does not need to go on until the very, very end. It'll actually get in the way. Okay, so the first thing we do is, oh, and by the way, this little zipper pull is a gift for my friend that I'm making this bag for. And I just sat up the other night and watched TV and made this for her. So just want to let you know that's what that's about. Okay, this is the part that I really, really love doing. It's called birthing. Yes, birthing the bag. And how we do this correctly, and you might have to do this a few times before you get the hang of it, is you turn your bag inside out. You take your liner, and you always want right sides together. Not always, but in this project you will. And you're going to just put it inside of it. And I'm going to share something with you in a second about how you will know it's correct. When all you see is ugly, it's correct. Ugly and ugly. If you see anything beautiful, it's wrong. Okay? So, how many times I've said that in my head when I was assembling bags. And so I just tucked that one in there. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it's just in there. Now what I do is I take this seam and I line it up with this seam. And I just hold it like that. And I'm going to pop in a pin. Okay, go to the other side. This side needs to go down just a tiny bit. And this is how it should look. You've got the ugly side, and you've got, if you're fortunate enough to have a bag large enough, you're not making a very small bag, you can actually put it over the machine and work this way and sew the bag together. If not, and you have a very small bag, you're going to have to go really slow, very tedious, and hold it like this and go around from this side. And it can get very tricky, but if you go slow, you'll be all right. Okay, so this bag does fit over there very nicely. Yay. And it doesn't matter at this point where you start. You don't have to start at a seam. You really, really don't. It doesn't really, really matter at this point. Okay, so I'm going to set this here. I'm going to use the edge of my presser foot, and I'm always going to line it up with this part of my bag. Not necessarily a little bit of the lining that's sticking out, but only this part of the bag. I'm also going to increase my stitch length. I'm pretty much just tacking at this point. My machine goes all the way up to 5, so however high yours goes to, I recommend you do that, because if you ever make a mistake, you can pull it apart at this point. And trust me, it has happened. Make sure you know where your ring is. Mine is down here safe, out of the way of where I'm going to be sewing. Okay? Go very slow, especially when you go over your tabs. Okay? We're going through a lot of fabric, so take your time. Fun part is coming. Small bag. Okay, so the two are now joined, and the easiest way to do this, the only way to do this now, is to pull out your lining. And you're going to reach through the opening. And you're going to grab a corner, either corner, and you're going to very slowly and very carefully pull this through. This is going to become apparent why I call it birthing. But you want to take your time and go slow. You do not want to rip your lining right there. If you do, it's fixable, but I say do it right the first time. This is the part you have to be very, very patient because you can rip your liner. There you go. Starting to see all your hard work come together. This is my very favorite part. Okay, so there you go. And what we're going to do at this point is now you tuck the whole thing in to the bag. And look at there. Isn't that fun? Look at that. I'm aware that we have a hole in the bottom of the bag and we're going to close it up, but this is the part that I like to check and make sure that all of this came together correctly. The tabs are right. And I just do a little soft finger press to make sure that the lining is where I want it. And the 2 pieces of Velcro, they work. That's very good. So at this point, I'm going to take it over to the ironing board and I'm going to sew this down. Press this down, not sew it down yet. We'll do that in a few minutes. But I'm going to press this nice and flat and exactly where I want it. Then we're going to come back and come down 1/4 of an inch and we're going to sew this like that. So I'll meet you back here in just a moment. Okay, I went over and I pressed this really nice. So now what we want to do is do some top stitching. This part I do start at the seam, not in the very center, because I am going to back stitch and I really don't want that to be shown in this part of the bag, but it's probably less obtrusive if I do it around in here. Another thing is I get a little bit of a running start. I don't ever start on a big bulky part. I want to get my machine ready to climb the hill instead of starting the hill. That's one way we can look at that. I'm going to bring it over and I only come in about 1/4 or even sometimes a 1/16 of an inch, but that's just kind of where I'm comfortable of putting that stitch, and that way I don't interrupt with my Velcro and sew into that as well. So I'm going to set that here. That looks just about right to me. And go slow. We're going through many, many layers. And we don't want to break a needle. I'm going to back stitch. And I'm going to leave my stitch length, by the way, not to 5, the biggest, but I am going to come down to about 3 because I like to see the stitches. It's part of the bag to me. It's just beautiful. But I don't want them to be really small. Very slow. I can feel the Velcro right here, but it feels like we're missing it, and that's always a good thing. It's not the end of the world if we took a little. Very bulky part. Go slow. Again, I'm really grateful for this little machine. It is definitely a workhorse. Hopefully you enjoyed putting in this zipper. It was pretty easy and it came out really, really nice. It looks very professional. At the end, we're just going to do a small back stitch. And that completes that portion. All we have left to do is sew up the inside of the bottom of the bag. I'll show you how to do this now. Then I'm going to put on this strap and we're done. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out. I always do this part after I do that. That way I know I can get it back in there nice and neat. You know, there's a couple of ways to do this, and I'm going to just tell you, but I am going to hand sew this. This bag is for a friend, and I want to do a really, really, really nice job. Not to say that machine closing is not a really nice job, but I would like to hand stitch this for her. So I'm just going to tell you how I would do that. If you care to sew it with your machine, is you take this and you just make it just like that, nice and clean, because you pressed it before. It's already pretty much done for you, and you put it under your machine and you just sew it, and that's fine. It actually looks fine, but I'm going to take my time and really do a good job for that. So let's pretend that's done, and we're going to put it back in here. We're going to add the straps. Okay, the strap, not plural. Okay, so take the edge of my strap. Doesn't really matter which side. They're both pretty much the same. But it does matter which way you go in. I like to have this sewing part, the raw edge, on the other side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed it from the outside towards the inside of the bag and fold it up like this, and I'm just leaving it about an inch. I've got plenty of strap here, and she's pretty small, so I don't need a lot of room. I'm not, struggling for room here. We've already added quite a bit of fabric. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it and I'm going to sew it a couple of times. I can even do a square, but I don't believe that's needed. It's a small bag, so how much weight can it hold? I'm not too worried about that, but I am going to flip it up just about an inch. Put that under the machine. Again, we're going through a lot of layers. Take your time, because you want this to look just really, really nice and very, very neat. Back stitch. Always, always back stitch. And I'm going to just back it up and go all the way across really slow. Okay, I'm going to come back and cut all my strings really, really well when I'm done. And you want to make sure that before you attach it to the next side that you're not having your strap twisted. I will go back and clean up all of my threads, but I just wanted to show you how wonderfully made this is. It's good quality work. If you follow all the instructions the way I showed you, it is something that you can sell, and it makes a really, really great gift. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I have, and I'll see you at our next project. Enjoy your day. Okay, and that's all the time we have today. Till next time, happy sewing.